In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to go over the 12 ways to say thank you and you're welcome in Korean, plus all of the context that they're used in. First, we have the phrase 감사. And 감사 is just a very slang-like way to say thank you. Don't use it with anybody who's in a higher level of you, who's older than you, who you need to respect. Use this with your friends. Just be like 감사 as like a way to say thank you. It's very much slang though, so keep that in mind. 정말 친절하시네요. This means that's truly kind of you. 정말 is used in the sentence instead of 진짜 because 정말 is a more formal way to say really in Korean. And this phrase is formal. 진짜 is what you say that's a little less formal. So if you were to say 진짜 친절하시네요, then it just sounds weird because 친절하시네요 is formal. 진짜 isn't as formal, so that's why you use 정말. So 정말, 진짜, they mean the same thing. They both mean really, but 정말 is more formal. 진짜 is less formal. 대단히 감사합니다. The literal translation of this is thank you so much. 대단히 means very much or greatly. And when you combine it with 감사합니다, which is very formal, then this makes this a very formal way to say thank you. 대단히 감사합니다. Like that. 고맙습니다. This is a relatively formal and polite expression. It's not used in like the most polite situations in the world, but everything other than that, you can use 고맙습니다 and it sounds very natural and native. This phrase is appropriate for people that you are pretty familiar with or that might be slightly older than you. And it can also be used generally like in places at a store or something, like if they take your order and then you can be like 고맙습니다 to thank them. But don't use this in something like a business situation. Just don't do it, okay? 하지마. Don't do it. 감사합니다. AKA the go-to thank you. This is probably one of the first Korean phrases that you learn. You can basically consider 감사합니다 as a very safe go-to for a thank you in Korean. This is in the general formal speech level, so you can use it in lots of different situations. You typically use this for seniors or people who are older than you. This also means like that it's used with people higher, not just in age, but in rank in society too. Korea is a very societal country, so be sure if someone's of a higher rank than you, but they're younger than you, still say 감사합니다. Keep it generally formal. 고마워요. The meaning for 고마워요 is thank you. Just generally, thank you. This is a relatively polite way to say thank you in Korean, but it is definitely a formality downgrade from the other 2 or 3 that I just mentioned. Use this 고마워요 with people that you are generally friendly with. So whether that be a friend or a classmate or someone who's of a relatively close age to you, that would be a good time to use 고마워요. One of the hardest things I think about somebody learning Korean is the formality levels. There's a lot of them and it's really hard to know when to use all these different ways to say like thank you and you're welcome in real life situations. This is why I always recommend to my friends who are studying Korean FluentU, because FluentU teaches you Korean through real life media, real life circumstances, from the K-dramas to the K-pop to commercials and ads and speeches. So it goes over all of these formality levels. And plus there comes with like flashcards and quizzes so that what you're learning can really solidify itself in your mind more. If you want to try it out for free, I have a link in the description for 2 weeks absolutely free. Now let's move on to even more ways and situations to say thank you. 정말 고마워요. This means thank you sincerely. So this phrase simply emphasizes the previous phrase of 고마워요 by adding 정말, really, a lot. It just adds a little something. So like if you are really grateful for what somebody did to you, you don't just need to say 고마워요, but you can say 정말 고마워요. Just adds a little emphasis to the expression. And our final way to say thank you is 고마워. You probably hear this a lot in K-dramas and other situations because it is the least formal way besides 감사 that you can say thank you in Korean. It means thank you, we just don't have the yo in there. Like 고마워요, we take that out because it's in 반말, it's an informal Korean. So this expression is reserved for friends, for family, and for kids, anybody younger than you. But also if their rank or position is lower than you can use 고마워. Now we're going to talk about some of the negative ways to say thank you, and I think you'll understand when I share with you this first phrase. 아니요, 괜찮습니다. This means no thank you. So if you want to respond in a really polite way to something, decline something, but say thanks for inviting me, you say 아니요, 괜찮습니다. 아니요 is a negatory response, as most of you guys probably know already, and 괜찮습니다 is a very formal way to say it's okay or I'm okay. Next we have 아니요, 괜찮아요. Just a reminder that when something ends in like 니다 or 습니까, then that is more formal. Like you can always just count on that to be of the highest formality. But then when something ends in 요, that's just basic formality. Here we have 아니요, 괜찮아요. And this is what I use usually every day when I'm around in Korea just doing stuff. I use 요. Now we are on to you're welcome in Korean, which is 천만에요. This is a phrase that you'll find in all the textbooks. It's a phrase that you'll find in Google Translate. It's the phrase that you'll find in Naver. It's everywhere because it is the formal way to say you're welcome in Korean. But this is not how you actually say you're welcome in Korean. It's not, you guys. I'm just telling you right now. Why? Because it's outdated. Koreans don't really say literally you're welcome. They just don't. Just like a whole culture and society can change over time, so can the language that's spoken there. It's just, as time goes on, the language changes. Just think about your own native language. I'm sure the language changes over time. Definitely does in America, that's for sure. Now, the right way to say the Korean version of you're welcome is one of these two expressions. 아닙니다 or 아니에요. The literal translation of these words is it's nothing or no problem. So if you tell someone, 감사합니다, and they're like, 아니에요. It's like, it's no big deal, it's no problem. This is how you say you're welcome in Korea. This is the normal response. I've said this a lot when people say thank you to me in Korea. I'm just like, 아니에요, or 아닙니다. If you guys want to review everything that I mentioned in this video, specifically all the different formality levels, be sure to download the free FluentU PDF in the description box below. It has all this info on here plus more. Now, I think you guys are finally ready to take on this video over here that I made all about how to order food in Korean, because it was a lot more complex than I originally thought. So if you don't want to starve when you're in Korea, check out that video. I think it's very helpful. So I will see you guys over there.